Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Dockery Docket podcast, the podcast that doesn't wave foreign flags, and when we get angry, we don't burn down people's cars, we just yell about it on the internet. We have breaking news coming out of California right now as fiery but mostly peaceful protests are back on the menu, baby. And now I talked a little bit about this in the last episode, defending the worst. However, ever since that video came out, people have been having wool covered over their eyes. They are asking things like, what protests are you talking about? There are no protests at all. Everything is calm and peaceful. And if there are protests, then they are mostly peaceful. But if the mostly peaceful protests get out of hand, then somehow it's Donald Trump's fault. And it is especially Donald Trump's fault for calling in the National Guard to try to stop these different protests from happening. And I mean, how on earth can you believe the media's narrative when the media has a person on screen with a split screen, and one side they're talking about how peaceful and wonderful and beautiful these protests are, while the other side has burning cars? Just take a look at this.
You have outliers that throw things and cause damage. And so, yes, the LAPD came in and they called it an unlawful assembly. I believe that the LAPD has this underhand, and they are very, very experienced in riot control. So this is something that they can handle. We do not have to have the National Guard here. We certainly do not have to have the Marines here. This is a manufactured crisis, and we do not need the Insurrection Act, and that is an understatement.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that the police have it under control. It looks like they have really taken control of the situation. And guess what? It happened again on MSNBC. Take a look at this.
What does that look like, stand up to him?
I think...
Like, literally, what does it mean?
Well, largely, I think it's rhetorical. I think that it's not bending the knee and saying, no, National Guard, come on in. You know, we need to stop these protesters. They can't be part of characterizing these protesters as these violent mobsters. That's what the right is desperate for.
Now you see, it's Donald Trump that is claiming that these people are being violent. It's Donald Trump's fault that these people are being terrible and evil and violent. Just don't look at the other side of the screen. Don't look at it because it's going to show terrible things happening. Just don't look at the other side of the screen. That's not violence. That's not terribleness. That's peace. That's calm. That's just people outside doing the fun family tradition of watching cars burn.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
The question is, who should you believe? Should you believe the anchors on TV who can't believe their lying eyes? Like this?
The LA County Police say that they have it under control. Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know. What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
Video after video has shown that these agents are the ones provoking protesters and also making up, aggression by these protesters that later video shows people were not aggressive.
We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting.
Or should you believe the LAPD chief named Jim McDowell, as he said this about these different protests?
Scenes subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals out there shooting commercial-grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll they'll take backpacks, and the backpack will have a cinder block in it. They have a hammer, and they'll break up the cinder block and use that, pass it around to throw at officers, to throw at cars, and throw at other people.
Donald Trump wants law and order, and he wants to prevent what happened in 2020 with those crazy riots that happened, which were also mostly peaceful. But this is why Donald Trump is sending in the National Guard, because he wants to make sure that California has law and order again. He wanted to do what the American people voted for him to do, and that was deport people that were here illegally. For some reason, they want these criminal aliens to be in our country illegally. Now, these different riots/protests have led us to talk about different situations when it comes to illegal immigration. Who belongs in this country and who deserves to get kicked out. And there were people at this protest that were arguing that California was Mexico, so that means that people should just get off their land. And it means that illegal immigrants are technically from Mexico because they live in California, because California used to be a part of Mexico. Does that make sense? It's weird. Here is a woman making that argument.
This is our city, and this was Mexico. You can't kick us out of the land that was ours. Donald Trump! Fascism! Let our people free! Let our people free! Suelta nuestra gente!
I definitely apologize for her loud screaming. I don't know why she looks like that either, but this argument is the reason why a lot of protesters were waving the Mexican flag, even though it doesn't make any sense to wave a foreign flag at a protest anyway. It's like, oh, I escaped Mexico, I love Mexico, but I also don't want to be deported back there because it's such a terrible country and I want to stay here. Anyway, technically this woman and anyone who's making this argument is correct. California used to be a part of Mexico, as it was under Mexico's control for 24 years after Mexico gained independence from Spain. Then, in 1848, a treaty that ended the Spanish-American War was signed, giving the land to the United States of America. Now, what's really interesting is that the left absolutely hates colonialism. They talk a lot about how we need to dismantle this system of colonialism and that it's evil and bad, which I will agree there are some parts that were evil and absolutely terrible. But in this very instance, we are seeing that the left is actually defending it. As I mentioned before, Spain owned the land before Mexico was granted independence. And how did Spain get that land? Well, from the conquistadors, as it was conquered from the Aztecs and other native tribes. So, my question to these different leftists is very simple. Is California really Mexico's territory, or is it technically Spain's territory? Or does this territory belong to the Aztecs? Honestly, it's ridiculous gymnastics trying to figure it all out. But in the end, the United States won the war. Mexico gave us the land, and it has been a part of the United States since 1850. Doing some quick math, that is 175 years of California being a part of the United States. And then we have other protesters and people on Instagram and social media claiming that no person is illegal on stolen land. It was conquered and purchased with the money and the blood of our soldiers. Throughout human history, people have been fighting for land. And if you would give every single person back the land that they so quote-unquote used to have, then we would have a whole mess to deal with. And if different leftists agreed with this idea that everyone should just go back to their original countries and give back the land to the original people, then it looks like, well, Russia's right to attack Ukraine because the Soviet Union owned Ukraine first, so give it back to them. Also, Israel should be able to take over all of Hamas because they used to own it in the past, so give it back to them. I mean, do these people really want to play this game? It's a ridiculous game. Because if they really do, then every single Mexican citizen would have to go back to Spain. Donald Trump won his presidency on the idea of mass deportation, and now we are seeing that being played out. And the people from California don't like it because they want their borders to be opened for some odd reason. But do you know who really dislikes these people that are coming into our country illegally? Not the white nationalists or African American people, but the citizens that have come to this country legally on their own. The people that have followed the process process and got into this country the right way. This is why Donald Trump is having his approval rating on immigration go up. And this is why Trump won more of the Latino vote in the last election than any other Republican in a very long time. People are sick and tired of other people cutting in line. It's not fair that someone has spent years and days going over different paperwork, getting green cards, and doing the right thing to make sure that they can stay in this country legally and they want to be in this country. But someone can just live in this country for years and they don't get caught and are fine. It's wrong, and this is why Donald Trump is doing this. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.